I've got a 30-year-old car. How old are your cars?
I've got 2 cars that are over 20 years old, which is pretty common with guys into cars, guys and girls into cars.
Well, if you have a slight fender bender, as they call it, those 2 cars will be headed for the scrap heap. Just when you thought EV lunacy had reached so much of a peak that obvious industry backlash was taking place, think again, because the European Commission is here to prove you otherwise.
Oh. So what's the surprise?
So basically, they're saying if you have a car that's over 15 years old and it's in a major accident, but it's repairable,
Yeah. Or it's not just that, I think, or if, let's say, the engine dies, and it needs major works.
Needs major works. If that's considered too much, car's in the bin.
What? Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man.
Straight to the junker. They won't even let you re-register it.
Even though the car is completely viable for repair.
Yeah.
Dodgy used cars.
And so normally cars get written off, which means it's going to cost more to fix the car than what the car's worth. In this case, the car might be worth 15 grand. I don't know. It needs $3,000 on it. Nah, forget it. See you later.
Catastrophic. Unprecedented.
What are we gonna do?
You need to go and save money and go and buy a $90,000 EV.
And how much does it cost?
It's free.
Well, what if you've got a 70 series Land Cruiser and after 1.7 million kilometres, the old V8 gives up the ghost, but that's not going to actually happen. Those things go forever. But anyway, let's say it gives up the ghost and you've got to put a new engine in. That's not doing another 3 million kilometres. That's going to the scrap heap.
You know what this means, don't you?
You'll be ordering a new $90,000 LDV.
These headlines coming out of the EU aren't that much of a shock though, are they?
Global agenda.
Keep reading.
The EU is considering banning repairs on vehicles that are more than 15 years old.
Boy.
That means they seek to gradually eliminate older, high-emission vehicles to promote the adoption of greener alternatives. This pending legislation, so that means it hasn't passed or anything.
I'm done. You're gone.
So it could be scare tactics.
This is all just smoke and mirrors, this article, but everything pretty much they're saying, surely it's all coming. What is it? They're just spoiler alerts, these.
Crackpot theories.
Well, what is it? What's the difference between reality and a conspiracy theory? About 6 months.
I'm not control myself right now.
This pending legislation requires the green light from both European Parliament and the Council, introduces the concept of a residual vehicle, which meaning it's got a short lifespan, and then she's over.
This is going to save you money though, Jordo. This is going to save you money.
It's going to save you money at the Bowser. Any vehicle manufactured in 2009 before won't be considered for major repairs.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
RX-8s, they're cooked.
Hold up, wait a minute.
They're cooked anyway.
They're all off the road. They're extinct. Extinct species gone.
Many of these wonders seem set to disappear forever.
The EU's Fit for 55 initiative aims for a 55% cut in transport emissions by 2030 from 1990 levels and zero direct emissions by 2050.
I'm doing my part.
Including a 2035 ban on new combustion engine vehicles.
Dead.
Mm-hmm.
With exceptions for future synthetic fuels, which is going to make up hardly anything.
What about 15-year-old G5 jets? Are they heading to the scrap heap, or are they just...
No, they're just polluting like in one flight enough for about 1,000 cars. Don't worry about that.
They just trips to the Super Bowl weekly or what?
Just some Taylor Swift flights to the shops, that's fine. So they're proposing by targeting the longevity of cars, introducing draft regulations to redefine waste management for end-of-life vehicles to encourage recycling and a circular economy.
Some people, Jordo, are happy about this sort of legislation. Let me give you a bit of an insight. Good. I hope the end of ICE comes quickly. Sick of seeing all the garbage painted in the media about EVs, I cannot understand why I continue to see new petrol stations being built.
Unacceptable!
Surely that business has already peaked and is only going to get worse. Because, love, there's no petrol or diesel cars on the road, is there?
No,
why would you put a new petrol station in? No one drives them.
No one drives them. It says here though, the EU didn't provide any information on where the average person is supposed to get their funds to just throw away their old vehicle.
It's irrelevant.
Erroneous!
And start over with a brand new one. A brand new one.
It's free.
So if you drive an AU Falcon, your days are numbered.
Days are numbered, all right. Isn't it like the average age, if you look across all of cars, is probably, it'd have to be would have been 12 years, 15 years? It'd be over 10 years, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it said 47%, I think, of cars in Spain were 14 years old. So it was basically saying half the people would have to get rid of their cars if they're involved, you know, they need repairs.
And what about if this new legislation comes to Cuba? So the long and the short, Jordo, is if you've got a 15-year-old car and it needs a timing belt change, she's done.
Disappointed!
2K barra, whole car to the scrap heap. Another nonsensical proposal that, if ratified, would see perfectly viable vehicles consigned to the scrapyard despite the fact that the CO2 emissions produced in running the vehicle would be at a far lower level overall than those arising from building a new car, whether powered by an ICE engine or electricity to replace it.
I think that's a pretty reasonable comment, isn't it? I have no issue. I've said this 1,000 times, I don't get it.
You just keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Buy whatever you want. If you like an electric car or a petrol car, buy it. But I don't understand why other people have to tell you what you should drive.
Don't you know the obvious reason why?
The era of global boiling has arrived.
A great way you can support Fullboost is to purchase some of our merch. We've got many different styles on offer, so what are you waiting for? Grab one today at shop.fullboost.com.au.